keep staring off the wrong way. He's not even looking at the man. He's just
Where am I? I wonder what's for dinner tonight. I shouldn't have taken that Viagra.
I have to shit so bad.
Before we get to the video, please like, comment, subscribe, share it to that uncle who's a communist. And if he isn't, he will be.
Don't forget to follow us on Patreon at patreon.com/revolutionaryrhetoric. And Revolutionary Rhetoric is an affiliate of the Anti-Capitalist Podcast Network.
All right, let's get to the video.
So I've changed the law. What's happened? I've changed it in a way that now you're in a situation where there are 40% fewer people coming across the border illegally. It's better than when he left office. And I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more border patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of this. I don't think he knows what he said either.
I don't know what the fuck he just said.
We had the safest border in the history of our country.
That $2 trillion tax cut.
He should have went into comedy, man. I'm telling you. What was he
His
doing?
timing is so
For
good.
example, we have 1,000 trillionaires in America. I mean, billionaires in America.
Trillionaires.
And what's happening? They're in a situation where
I've seen this clip. He says nothing right.
8.2% in taxes. If they just paid 24%, 25%, either one of those numbers, they've raised $500 billion, I should say, in a 10-year period.
Christ.
We'd be able to wipe out his debt. We'd be able to help make sure that all those things we need to do, child care, elder care, making sure that we continue to strengthen our healthcare system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID. Excuse me.
Wasn't the tax rate higher than it is now under Obama for those very high percentile people?
I don't know.
I believe it was higher. Trump dropped them,
Oh, yeah.
and
I
then
think so.
he never changed it back.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is like he could just...
And that's the scam of
What
electoral
was that meme
politics.
that was like, re-elect me and I'll overturn Roe v. Wade or something? And it's like,
Yeah.
my brother, you're the president now. Like,
Yeah,
I don't need
well,
to re-elect you.
yeah, you just right.
Just do it now.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you could do it then, why can't you do it now? And we've talked about this at length before is...
Yeah,
they won't want
if they
to.
fixed it, they wouldn't be reelected because
Yeah.
there's no reason to.
All right.
With dealing with everything we have to do with look.
I'm sorry, but that reminds me of that one kid. Have you ever no, you never seen that
I don't know
that
what you're
meme?
talking about.
The old meme from like 2009. Have you ever loved you ever the have you? Oh my god, I'm gonna put it in the video.
Okay, do it.
Have you ever had a dream that you
We finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President
Finally beat
President
Medicare.
Trump.
Wait, why are we beating Medicare?
Well, he's right. He did beat Medicare. He beat it to
I
death,
don't know.
and he's destroying Medicare because all of these people are coming in. They're putting them on Medicare. They're putting them on Social Security. They're going to destroy Social Security. This man is going to single-handedly destroy Social Security. As far as the abortion is concerned, it is now back with the states. The states are voting. In many cases, it's frankly a very liberal decision. In many cases, it's the opposite. But they're voting, and it's bringing it back to the vote of the people, which is what everybody wanted, including the founders, if they knew about this issue, which, frankly, they didn't. But they would.
So how could they want it?
Everybody wanted.
They
brought
wanted it.
back.
If they knew about it, but they didn't,
Everybody
but they wanted it.
back. He wasn't able to get it. Everybody wanted it brought back, and many
And no one
presidents
challenges
had
on them on
tried
that.
to get it back. I was the one to do it. And again, this gives it the vote of the people, and that's where they wanted it. Just 1 second. He said we killed 3 people. The people we killed are al-Baghdadi and Soleimani, the 2 greatest terrorists, biggest terrorists anywhere in the world. That had a
Al-Baghdadi.
huge impact
Al-Baghdadi.
on everything, not just border, on everything. He's the one that killed people with the bad water, including hundreds of thousands of people
Jones so
dying,
fucking
and
lost. Look
also
at his
killing
face.
our citizens when they come in.
Well, Trump also just said he
We
killed
are
hundreds of
living
thousands.
in a rat's nest. They're killing our people in New York, in California, in every
They're just
state
they're
in the
just
union,
saying
'cause
shit.
We don't have borders anymore.
And that's
Every
what's fucked
state
up is that
now
the
a border.
monitor said nothing.
World War II.
Bro, they keep staring off the wrong way. He's not even looking at the man. He's just
Where am I? I wonder what's for dinner tonight. I shouldn't have taken that Viagra.
I have to shit so bad.
What a fucking nightmare dystopia shit we live in, man.
It's funny. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This is so funny.
Cemetery, World War I cemetery he refused to go to. He was standing with his 4-star general, and he told me, he said, I don't want to go in there because they're a bunch of losers and suckers. My son was not a loser, was not a sucker. You're the sucker. You're the loser.
President Trump?
What?
First of all, that was a made-up quote, suckers and losers. They made it up. It was in a third-rate magazine that's failing, like many of these magazines. He made that up. He put it in commercials. We've notified him. We had 19 people that said I didn't say it. And think of this. Who would say I'm at a cemetery or I'm talking about our veterans? Because nobody's taken better care. I'm so glad this came up, and he brought it up. There's nobody that's taken better care of our soldiers than I have. To think that I would, in front of generals and others, say suckers and losers. We have 19 people that said it was never said by me. It was made up by him, just like Russia.
Look at Biden's face.
Just like the 51 intelligence
He's
agents
melting.
are made up.
He
Just
died.
Like the thing with the 16 economists are talking. It's the same thing. 51 intelligence agents said that the laptop was Russia disinformation. It wasn't. That
love
came
it so
from
much.
his son Hunter.
Perfect system.
It wasn't
No
Russia
notes.
Disinformation. He made up the suckers and losers. So he should apologize to me right now.
4-star general standing to your side who was on your staff who said you said it, period. That's number one. And number two, the idea that I have to apologize to you for anything along the line. We've done more for veterans than any president has in American history. The crimes that you are still charged with, and think of all the civil penalties you have. How many billions of dollars do you owe in civil penalties for molesting a woman in public, for doing a whole range of things,
What?
of having sex with a porn star on the night while your wife was pregnant? I mean, what are you talking about? You have the morals of an alley cat.
What does that even mean?
I didn't have sex with a porn star.
And the idea
He did,
he's
though.
talking about all this being fabricated. We saw with our own eyes. We saw what happened on January 6th. We saw the people breaking through the windows. We saw people occupying his own vice president. Look, there's a reason why 40 of his 44 top cabinet officers refused to endorse him this time. His vice president hasn't endorsed him this time. So why? Why? They know him well. They serve with him. Why are they not endorsing him? And by the way, with regard to prescription drugs, one company agreed that they would reduce the price to $35, which I was calling for, one, voluntarily. I made sure every company in the world, every pharmaceutical company, cannot have to pay.
Thank you.
And by the way,
And by the way.
stop being phony.
He just stares at the camera for a second.
Economists, they all said that if Trump is reelected, we're likely to have a recession, and inflation is going to increasingly go up. And by the way, worst president in history, 159 presidential scholars voted him the worst president in the history of the United States of America.
What do you say to voters who have concerns about your capabilities to serve?
Well, I took 2 tests, cognitive tests. I aced them.
I've seen
Both
that.
of them, as you know.
We'll shut up about these cognitive
Public.
tests. Man,
I
woman,
took
camera,
one. I'd like
TV.
to see him take one, just one, a real easy one. Like go through the first 5 questions, he couldn't do it. But I took 2 cognitive tests. I took physical exams every year. And, you know, we knock on wood wherever we may have wood, that I'm in very good health. I just won 2 club championships, not even senior. 2
Well, let's
regular
start
club
talking about golf.
championships. To do that, you have to be quite smart, and you have to be able to hit the ball a long way. And I do it. He doesn't do it. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. He challenged me to a golf match. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. I think I'm in very good shape. I feel that I'm as in good
Both of them
shape
are
as
just
I
like
was
dying.
25, 30 years ago.
Bodies are rotting in front of us. Live television.
But I'm in as good a shape as I was.
You can't hit the
years
ball
ago. I
50
feel very
yards.
good. I feel the same. But I was willing to take a cognitive test. And you know what? If I didn't do well, I aced them.
Look, I'd be happy to have a driving contest with him. I got my handicap, which when I was vice president, down to a 6.
What?
It's a golf thing. Like it's like how good of a golf game he has.
If you carry your own bag, think you can do it?
That's the biggest lie. He's a 6 handicap of all.
I was at 8 handicap.
Yeah.
8. But I have, you know how many?
I've seen you sway.
Also, just admitting that during his vice presidency, he just played golf.
Let's not act like children.
Let's see what your numbers are when this election is over. Let's see. You're a whiner. When you lost the first time, you continued, you appealed and appealed to courts all across the country. Not one single court in America said any of your claims had any merit. state or local, none. But you continue to provoke this lie about somehow there's all this misrepresentation, all this stealing. There is no evidence of that at all. And I tell you what, I doubt whether you'll accept it because you're such a whiner. The idea, if you lose again, you accepting anything, you can't stand the loss. Something snapped in you when you lost the last time.
Yeah, so that's basically what it was. Just that for an hour and a half.
Oh my god!
It was nonsense. It was nothing of substance. It was just
somebody
cheap
come
attacks.
get their grandfathers. Oh my god!
It was just debating golf scores, and it's just nothing. We're doomed.
Yeah.
We're doomed to the country.
So fucked.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for like the conspiracy theories to come out and start talking about fucking ancient aliens or some bullshit.
I will say that like after this debate, for the first time I've ever seen, a bunch of people like immediately took to CNN, like all of the CNN like spin after in the room after the debate, they all go into haywire and they start just like doing commentary and analysis of the debate. There was not an insignificant amount of them that was just like, yeah, Biden needs to resign. And it was just all these people coming on, all of these different guests, these pundits and these Democratic operatives, and just like different people saying like, no, Joe Biden has to step down. This was so much worse than we could have imagined. Like, he's clearly not fit to lead. He's clearly doesn't have his mental faculties. He has to sit down. And that's kind of been the conversation for the last week is like, homie's got to go. Like he clearly can't answer a sentence, like clearly, like with any kind of.
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly, it's not just like mainstream media. I mean, the fact that mainstream media is even bringing up the question as if we haven't been saying this shit for years, it's kind of sad.
But it's for the first time they ever have.
But that kind of gives it that validity of like, okay, so something is going on.
Mm-hmm.
Now they can't really hide behind that, the mainstream media's curtains. But I recently saw a poll. I forgot where. I think it was on Twitter. And it wasn't a Twitter poll, it was just shared on Twitter, by the way, which is a whole different thing. That 69% of Americans thought that Joe Biden shouldn't run. So it's not whether they think Trump should win, it's just should Joe Biden specifically run. 69% said no. He should not run. So the vast majority of Americans are saying that means the vast majority of Democrats are saying it. If you are going down this path and you're going to keep this man in office, you lost this base. You're losing the base. You're going to lose the election. Period. This is a death sentence. So it would be stupid not to move him. Yeah, it would. But I mean, they're not gonna. Biden said in the last couple of days, maybe it might have even been today, quote, absolutely not, end quote, that after like being asked to drop, he said he's absolutely not going to leave. He claims that it was just a bad night. He said he made a mistake. He just had a bad night. That happens, it's hard under the lights and everything, and just like kind of just making excuses and just complaining about how that it was just basically it's just one mistake. And then so people are kind of being divided along in like the Democrat side. People are kind of being divided into two camps about this of like, a lot of people saying he has to drop out, like we're doomed. We have to find a new candidate for him. On the other half are saying, no, we're fine. He's great. He's got it all together. There was the Association of Governors of all the Democratic governors, I guess, met with Biden within the last 24, 48 hours. And every one of them came out of that saying like, oh, he was great. He was spry in there. He was doing fine or whatever. So I'm still thinking that behind the scenes, they're preparing for if he does drop out, they have the instantaneous, like they can pivot. It's ready. Because here's the thing, if they do say that he's going to step down now, they don't have the time. It's going to create that chaotic scene where they don't have anybody like completely ready. Well, the convention hasn't even happened yet. The convention's not till mid-August, so like they can still. He's still technically not the nominee because the convention hasn't happened. He hasn't accepted the Democratic nomination. Yes, exactly. Neither has Trump. So like they have a month and 2 weeks essentially at this point where they can, before the nomination is selected. And I would not be surprised if during that nominating, like during the convention, like in the nominating process, that like there is either somebody else being put forward or something. A lot of people have been saying like Gavin Newsom. People have been saying Gretchen Whitmer. Yeah. Kamala Harris, obviously. Big Gretchen. A lot of people saying Pete Buttigieg. God, please. No. Yeah. But nobody's saying Bernie, which I find annoying because like, not that I'm a big Bernie fan anymore, but obviously he's the best choice of that field. He's also very old, so like you wouldn't really be Yeah, but they're not friends with Bernie. Bernie,
Yeah,
I mean,
he wouldn't be in the question. Yeah.
No, he wouldn't be in the question.
Yeah.
He'd rock the boat too much, even though he's just a fucking social democrat. He'd rock the boat. But I think at the end of the day, they will have a ticket ready to replace him if he makes another gaffe like this. If he fucks up again like this, it's
He's
over.
definitely gonna. I mean,
it's over. So they're gonna keep him out of the limelight.
That's what I'm saying. They're just gonna keep him out of.
They're gonna completely.
But how are you
gonna
keep your presidential nominee? He has to like go to.
They're going to lose if they don't change him. They're going to lose. It doesn't fucking affect me. I don't give a fuck, right? Fuck the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. At the end of the day, we're going to be living through imperialism and pseudo-fascism here.
Yeah, we already
That's not the problem.
I mean, yeah,
but,
so like all this is to say, like exactly right.
Yeah.
Like all this is to say is like we don't really like we're not like trying to strategize and like help Biden get elected or help the Democrats get elected.
But I also don't want Project 2025.
But we also don't want
to.
so like if you have a brain and you're a leftist, you're in a like you're between a rock and a hard place because like there really isn't a lot of differences between these candidates and like Trump,
Bro,
but they're
throw
basically
Bernie in there, and I will vote for you.
Sure,
I'm sorry. I will break my oath. I'm not voting for the Democratic Party anymore.
I hang out with a lot of like obviously being like a Marxist-Leninist. I hang out with a lot of like leftist people, but I also hang out with a lot of like centrist or not centrist, but I hang out with like a lot of liberal people and just kind of vaguely progressive left. Leaning people.
Some people just aren't political. They
yeah,
have no
they're
clue.
just not that political, or at least not to the extent that I am. But like, I don't know anybody that's like voting for Biden anymore among like my millennial friends or whatever.
Yeah.
Like they're all like no, because of Palestine, mostly because of just like the others like
the cognitive ability.
I have a couple people I know that are like probably going to to stop Trump, they would do the thing of like, oh, they'll give a shame vote for Biden. But most people I know like did that in 2020. They swallowed their pride. They went to vote for Biden even though they really didn't want to.
Yeah.
And then they say never again. And I am that camp. I voted for Biden in 2020 just because like
I surprisingly voted for
I shouldn't have.
For a PSL.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. I regret it because he's the worst, and I did it just as like a stop Trump type thing, and like he's the worst possible choice, but Trump is worse. And at that point, I said never again, like never again. So fuck Biden. But anyway, there is some. Besides this being funny, there is some actual fallout to this. Trump has kind of picked up a couple of points in basically every poll. He's ahead now. He was already kind of ahead in most polls. Now he's anywhere between 3 and 5% depending on the poll ahead now, which is no joke.
It's fucked. You're over. Yeah. It's over.
It's kind of over. Biden's cooked, as the kids would say. Yeah,
Biden's cooked.
Trump is cooking. Biden's cooked.